Sorry there was no video yesterday. I decided to hold off posting this Q&A until today so I could kind of get back on schedule and start uploading around my regular time, which is 11 a.m. Pacific time. Normally, sometimes a little bit later if it takes me a little longer to edit. But after today's video, everything should be back on schedule. So let's just jump right into it. I have 8 Pokemon to evolve, only 3 different species. And the reason is, I'm evolving all these Eevees, and these are sort of lower level Eevees. You can see these cost 1900 Stardust. This one's also 1900 because its IVs are a lot better than the other one. But I'm evolving these Eevees because I'm looking for better training Pokemon, and Jolteon, Vaporeon, and Flareon around 1000 CP are all going to be good trainers, so that's what I'm hoping for out of these Eevees. I'm evolving this Igglybuff all the way because I do want a good Wigglytuff still, and then 3 Sandshrews because I'm still looking for one with good IVs, better IVs than the one I have now with Mudshot and Earthquake. So let's start with the strongest Eevee. Vaporeon, perfect. Hopefully it's Water Gun Hydro Pump, and this might be around 1400 CP. Okay, so this one's obviously stronger than I was hoping for training, but this is still good considering there are quite a few 2800 plus Rhydons in gyms. So still a good training Vaporeon here, and I think this one actually has good IVs. I actually have a lot of shorter answer questions today, so I might answer more questions than I do evolutions. But the first one I want to address is, do you think there will be an update in a few days because almost a week passed after the nest migrations? As you guys know, updates typically occur every 2 weeks, and that's every other week with nest migration. So it's nest migration, update, nest migration, update every week. And this week, we didn't get one. It's Thursday now, and we haven't had any announcement of an update. And I think the reason for that is just that it was just Christmas, New Year's. Niantic probably had some kind of holiday break. So we'll have another nest migration next week, most likely, but I can't say whether or not an update will come that week or they'll hold it off for another week. Typically it's odd numbered weeks, that's why every version number is odd numbers. Every version is numbered after the week number, so we're on version 51 right now, 0.51, because it came out in the 51st week of 2016. So with the next game update, we'll probably see the jump to 1 point something. It'll be either 1.2 if it comes out next week, 1.3 if it comes out the week after that. Let's evolve another Eevee. This one's 1600, obviously has poorer IVs than the previous one, but since I'm just evolving it for training, I'm not planning on powering it up. The IVs don't actually matter. Another Vaporeon. Okay. Well, hopefully it's Water Gun Hydro Pump. Aquatail, still not bad. 1139, that's right in the training range, so that's not bad. I feel like they messed up with the candy system. Don't feel the connection with my Mons I did in Game Boy games. You ever feel the same? Absolutely. The candy system is definitely a mobile-friendly, sort of casual-friendly way of training and powering up your Pokemon. The candy system was one of the biggest complaints during the beta. A lot of people didn't really like it. They said it didn't feel like Pokemon. There wasn't any connection between you and your Pokemon. You weren't training, working with the same Pokemon to power it up and form a bond together. They're sort of just commodities. You know, you catch a Pokemon, if it's not good, you get rid of it to get candy. And there's no real sense of forming a bond with your Pokemon. I've saved a few Pokemon, a few special Pokemon. You know, my first Sandshrew, I gave it a nickname and kept it. But for the most part, Pokemon Go is really lacking the friendship aspect that a lot of main series Pokemon games have. One thing I suggested during the beta in the feedback group was a different way of earning candy that would sort of make it feel a little bit more like the main series games, where the Pokemon that you use in a gym battle would earn candy at the end of it. So in a way, it's sort of like using that Pokemon and training it by battling so that you can power it up after the battle. At the time that I suggested it, there was no buddy system, so it also offered a way of earning candy for Pokemon that you can't find many of in the wild. And I still think it's a good idea. It's probably exploitable in some ways, so there would need to be limitations placed on it, but the lower a Pokemon's CP is compared to the Pokemon it beats, it could earn more candy, just like you earn more experience now if you beat a Pokemon that's higher level than you. In the main series games, I mean. But absolutely, I feel that there is sort of a lost connection in Pokemon Go, because Pokemon are just treated as commodities. You know, you catch this one's just candy. You catch this one, yeah, good IVs, bad moveset. Now you just don't want it for anything. Alright, here we go. Another Eevee. Hopefully I can get something other than Vaporeon this time. Is it because it's raining? It is raining right now. Let's see. Water Gun Hydro Pump though, 1200. So, Water Gun Hydro Pump better than Water Gun Aqua Tail, which I just got on the last one. Just about the same CP, a little bit higher. But, okay. I guess it's Vaporeon day. Can we hatch region exclusives? Not anymore, actually. Originally, people were reporting that they were hatching region exclusives outside of their region. I never personally saw any reliable confirmation of that. John Hankey came onto Twitter and said that eggs can only be found in their natural habitat, meaning that region-exclusive eggs should only be found in their own region. Now, the Silph Road recently did a study. They were looking at different probabilities of getting different types of eggs from certain Pokestops, and they also found that no one during their study hatched a region-exclusive Pokemon, which essentially means region exclusives aren't hatching from eggs anymore. Short answer, so let's do 2. Would you like to see each Pokemon's current HP as text, along with the bar on screen when using potions? For example, 46 out of 101. Absolutely. This was also something that people suggested as far back as beta. You need to be able to see your Pokemon's remaining HP and total HP when you're choosing which potion to use, because sometimes it's more efficient to use 2 regular potions than it is to use 1 super potion. Likewise, sometimes it's better to use 2 super potions than it is to use 1 hyper potion. You need to know what the actual numbers are so you can choose which potion is best. That's a simple quality of life improvement. I don't think it's something that's too difficult for Niantic to implement, so I'd just like to put it out here publicly in case anyone at Niantic is listening. Let us see our Pokemon's HP when we're choosing which potions to use on them. Alright, one more Eevee. What are the odds? It's another Vaporeon. Very low, actually. Something's going on here, right? Water Gun Water Pulse on this one, and this is the lowest CP. This is the one I would have liked to have Water Gun Hydro Pump on. That's interesting. I'm sure you guys are going to have all kinds of theories as to why that is. More than likely, it's just RNG, but let's see. Do I have any more Eevees? I mean, I know I have Eevees, but 204. This one's super low. It's not nicknamed. I'm just going to evolve it right now and see what happens. Okay. Jolteon. 587. Probably not going to use that one for training very often. I actually do have like Pikachu and stuff at around 500 CP, but that's interesting that I got 4 Vaporeons in a row. There's a park near my home, and I marked the walking path after you uploaded your video. Will the spawns still change? So here's the thing. We've sort of been looking into this idea that paths on OpenStreetMap have increased spawns since the most recent update where they added spawns in parks, national parks, wilderness areas, rural areas, and it seems like those paths have something to do with those new spawn points. I mapped the path here in Furman Park, the walking trail, and it didn't get new spawn points immediately. It's possible that it may get new spawn points in the future if Niantic decides to use updated OpenStreetMap data for their algorithm. But I just want to say, because it was brought up on Reddit and it's a pretty good point, guys, just be responsible when you're using OpenStreetMap. It's great that people want to contribute to OpenStreetMap, but don't do it just to get new spawn points in your area. Don't map paths that don't exist. Don't change paths that already exist so that you're hoping to get new spawn points. Be responsible, map things appropriately. If there's a path, a footpath there, that doesn't have a red dotted line already, you can add that. If there's another path, a multi-use path, you can mark it as a blue path. That's a path that's acceptable for bicycles, walking, etc. But don't just add things that don't exist because you want spawn points. Be responsible. OpenStreetMap is a very good resource, and that's because people use it responsibly. That's the reason Niantic probably chose to use it, is because it has a lot of very good information that people have contributed. If we start adding things that don't exist and using it irresponsibly, Niantic might stop using it as a resource. So yes, absolutely, update OpenStreetMap, contribute to it, but be responsible, add things that actually exist, don't make things up. I'm going to skip Igglybuff for now and move on to the Sandshrews. I'll start at the low end for these. Again, I'm hoping for Mudshot Earthquake and one with better IVs than the only one that I currently have. Maybe I can get that weird Vaporeon luck and get all three with Mudshot Earthquake. Nope. Alright, I have two questions that sort of go together here. If Niantic were to implement another location-based stop other than gyms and Pokestop, what would you like to see? And think they will ever implement Pokécenters? Use potions or other items in battle. So the part that goes together here is obviously Pokemon Centers. Several months ago, Niantic said that there would eventually be additional things that you can add to Pokestops, like a lure module. And one of the things that was referenced was a Pokemon Center, sort of like a healing module. And I think a Pokemon Center is the obvious next location-based stop to add. That was something that I think everyone had in mind when the game was first announced. It would be really cool to just walk down to the end of the street and visit your local Pokemon Center stop and heal all your Pokemon for free there. Of course, it is going to favor players in higher density areas. Rural players would not have nearly as much access to these Pokemon Centers, on top of already not having as much access to gyms and Pokestops for items, so it would be a little bit unfair, but that's how everything in this game has been, really. A lot of it is dependent on your location. One of my early thoughts was that sponsored locations could become Pokemon Centers because things like McDonald's, Starbucks, they're all pretty populous. A lot of smaller towns have them. I know not every small town has a Starbucks or a McDonald's, but then the other option could be to use things like post offices or city halls, which pretty much every town does have. And those locations could become Pokemon Centers. Now, as for using potions or other items in battle, in the game code, there are references to items called X Attack, X Defend, and X Miracle. In the main series games, X Attack and X Defend are items that you use in battle and it boosts your Pokemon's attack or defense stats. X Miracle isn't something that exists in the main series games, so I'm not sure what that would do, and I'm not really going to go into speculation right now. But it's definitely possible that we will be able to use items in battle eventually, items that are going to affect our Pokemon's stats or maybe even heal them. Hopefully that is something that gets added in the future because it will add a little bit of depth to the battle system, which it is obviously currently lacking. Alright, next weakest Sandshrew. IV-wise, I'm not sure what the difference is between these two. I haven't actually checked the actual percentages, but I'm just going to start with this one because it's lower CP. Can't do it. I can't get it. Alright, one more try. Is it true an email from Professor Willow mentioned Gen 2 in a few weeks? No. There was an email that had sort of updates, and it kind of got staggered out. Like, some people got it weeks before the Christmas event started. I didn't get it until just a couple days ago, actually. And at the end, it says stay tuned for another update in a few weeks. A lot of people took that to mean another game update in a few weeks. But I think it's most likely that that means you'll get another email with updates about what's happening or what has happened in Pokemon Go in a few weeks. And obviously, since everyone has been getting that email at such different times, it's hard to say when that next email will actually come. But no, it didn't say Gen 2 is coming in a few weeks. Alright, last Sandshrew. Should I unnickname it? Does that even... It's not going to make a difference. But here we go. I don't want to know. You tell me. Yeah? No? Yeah? No? I feel like too soon? No. Alright, here's a question from my buddy Twintendo. Twintendo, if you're not familiar, is one of the few channels that was covering Pokemon Go before launch. It was Trainer Tips, Twintendo, Chicken, and Team Atlas Go, now renamed Atlas. We were sort of like the 4 channels who were actually talking about Pokemon Go extensively before the game came out, and then once it came out, obviously, everyone was talking about it. But if you haven't already, go ahead and check out his channel. He doesn't cover Pokemon Go as much anymore, but he does cover a lot about the main series Pokemon games, so I definitely recommend it. This question is, with the recent success of the Christmas and starter events, should events be a mainstay to increase player growth and activity? And the answer is absolutely, I believe they should. I think that Niantic's schedule should sort of go event, update, so that they have something that's always keeping people interested. Now, it seems like they're going to hold events off to holidays, which is unfortunate because we don't have a ton of holidays coming up. The next big holiday is really Valentine's Day, and what are they going to do for that? Introduce breeding? But I think a schedule like that, where you constantly have something going on in the game, is definitely going to keep people interested. Even if it's a simple event, even if it's, not tied to any holiday, just a quick double XP event, just a quick double Stardust event, just a quick double drops from Pokestops event. There doesn't really have to be a reason for it. Now, on the flip side, too many events could be kind of dangerous because you could go from people playing more during events to people only playing during events and not playing when there's no event on, which is why you stagger it and alternate with game updates. Once the event ends, you announce the update, and then people go, oh, something new's coming, I'll keep playing. And then a week after that update, once the update hype kind of dies down, another event starts, people keep playing. After that event, another update, people keep playing. So yes, to answer the question, I think events should be a mainstay to increase player growth and activity. Okay, last evolution, Igglybuff, and I'm going all the way to Wigglytuff with this one. A lot of people ask, is there any reason to evolve baby Pokemon? And is this going to evolve? There we go. The reason would be because you want a good, fully evolved version of that Pokemon. In this case, I'd still want a Wigglytuff, jeez, they have so many different names. A Wigglytuff with Pound and Hyper Beam. And since I hatched Igglybuff from an egg now, the only way to get one is evolving that all the way to Wigglytuff. Obviously, you can still catch a Jigglypuff in the wild, but again, you are going to have better chances of getting high IVs from Pokemon you hatch from eggs. So that's the reason you want to evolve them, is if you want a good, fully evolved version of that Pokemon. Pound and Play Rough. That's not bad. It's second best in terms of damage. And it's actually still a good moveset against Dragonite. 1000 CP though. I haven't evolved a Wigglytuff since it got nerfed, so that actually hurts to see that. Good for training against Dragonites, but again, not as efficient as some of the Laprases that I have, my Dugong, Cloyster, because Ice type is going to deal twice as much damage as Fairy would against Dragon. Against Dragonite, specifically, because it's Flying and Dragon, double weakness to Ice. And it actually deals a little bit more than twice as much damage. 1.25 for single weakness, 1.56 for double weakness, since they get multiplied together. And one last question, not Pokemon related, but what Hogwarts house are you? Slytherin. You believe that? I'm pretty much 100% Slytherin. And I got my green and gray on right now. Alright, that's it for this Q&A. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys learned something. We're back on schedule, so you should see a regular Trainer Tips video tomorrow around the same time. Thanks for watching. See you guys then.